Hi students, I welcome you here in Mindspace Computers. Today we are going to see Java networking and our subtopic is InetAddress class. InetAddress class. It is a public class and the superclass of InetAddress is object. This class implements one interface which is called serializable. Hence, the line comes public class. The name of class is InetAddress. Extends the name of superclass is object. Implements and the name of interface is serializable. This class belongs to java.net package. Net stands for network. InetAddress can handle both IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. As we know, nowadays IP addresses are of two types. One is of 4 bytes, which is known as IPv4, and another is of 16 bytes, which is known as IPv6. So InetAddress class comes in both the version. The InetAddress class is used to encapsulate two things. One is numerical IP address and another is domain name. Let me explain you. As you know, every resource, every server, every website has some numerical IP address. So InetAddress class is representing that numerical IP address, as well as every resource on the internet has some host name or domain name associated with that. InetAddress class also represent that. So in short, InetAddress class object is combination of two things: numerical IP address, which is more suitable for machines, and the domain name, which is more suitable for human being. The machines can understand only numerical IP address, whereas human beings are comfortable with the domain name for that particular address. Let's move ahead. Now, the most important thing is that InetAddress class don't have any visible constructor. As you know, generally constructors are used to create the object, but in case of InetAddress, there is a no visible constructor. So there is no way to create the object using constructor. So the alternative is here, that is factory methods. InetAddress class has around 5 factory methods which can be used to create the object. Now we will move to the program for the same. Now you can see this is a program. In this program, I am going to demonstrate InetAddress class and its 4 factory methods I am going to explain here. We need to import java.net package. Here star represents that I want to import all the classes and interfaces under the net package. This is a keyword class. This is a user defined class name. I have taken the class name InetAddressTest. It is a user defined class name and you can use any other class name. Here class starts. Now, as you know, every program in Java should have main method. So let's move with the main method. Public static void main. And as usual, parameters are arguments array of string type. Now, here we are throwing the unknown host exception. So the line comes throws unknown host exception. Unknown host exception means if you give wrong host name, in that case this exception will be thrown. Let me give some example. Suppose I write down www.abcdxyz.com. Now as we know, abcdxyz.com is not unknown host. So it will throw unknown host exception. It means if you specify any wrong host name or any wrong website which is not available on the internet, in that case this unknown host exception will be thrown. Now here main method starts. Now let me go for all the 4 factory methods one by one. In first factory method, we are going to get INET address of localhost, means of my own computer on which I am running this program. Once I get that, I will also print that INET address. So the name of ready-made class which we are seeing is InetAddress. The object name is AD1. Object name we can decide equals to. This is again a ready-made class name called InetAddress dot, and we have called one method. The name of method is getLocalHost. Here we need to see 2 points. First, this method is called with the name of class. So the methods which we called using the class name are called static methods. So this is a static method. Get local host. This is a ready-made static factory method of INET address class. It will give me the INET address of my local host, means my own computer on which I am running this program. So AD1 will store INET address of my local host, means my own computer. Now, as we have seen previously, INET address class has 2 things. One is IP address and another is host name. So now AD1 will encapsulate 2 things. AD1 will store IP address my own laptop as well as host name of my own laptop. So in this way, getLocalHost method returns INET address for my localhost, that is my own laptop. So AD1 will have 2 things inside it. One is IP address of my laptop and second is host name of my laptop. Same I will print here AD1. So it will print 2 things. First IP address and second host name of my own machine, my own laptop. Now let's move to the second factory method. Here we are going to get INET address of the named host. The name which we will provide, we will came to know the INET address of that particular host name, and then we will print that INET address. So let's move ahead. Again, the name of ready-made class is InetAddress. The name of object is AD2. Now, the ready-made class is InetAddress and the method we are calling is getByName. Again, you can see this method getByName is called using a class name. So this method is also a static method of InetAddress class. In fact, all the 5 factory methods of InetAddress class are static by default. Now we have specified the host name www.msbt.com. So getByName, this method will return us the INET address of msbt.com host. So AD2 will encapsulate 2 things. First, IP address of msbt.com and second, host name of msbt.com. Let me tell you, msbt.com is itself a host name. Now we will print this AD2. Let's move ahead with the third factory method. Now again, the name of class is INETAddress and object name is AD3. But the new thing is here, AD3 is not a single object, it is an array of object, as you can see the square bracket in front of it. InetAddress, it is a ready-made class, and we are calling the method get all by name. Please mind the word all here. The method is get all by name. This is also a static method, hence called with the class name. Now, the host name which we have provided is www.google.com. So, we are going to get INET addresses of google.com. Now, why the name all comes? Generally, a big host like www.google.com has many servers. Say, for example, Google has 10 servers across the globe. In that case, we will get 10 INET addresses for Google. Those 10 INET addresses for the Google will be stored in this array. And if total number of INET addresses and servers for Google are 10, then this array index will go from 0 to 9. Now it's time to print all those INET addresses of Google. I say 10 for just an example. It may not be the case at all. Now, if Google has 10 INET addresses, 10 different servers, then this loop will start with 0 and this loop will end on 9. So 0 to 9, it becomes total 10. This AD3 means our array dot length will be 10 in such a case, and less than 10 means 9. So loop will start on 0 and loop will end on 9. Every time loop will be incremented by 1. Now, first of all, the value of I will be 0. So AD3 0 means first INET address for the Google will print. Then I will become 2. So AD3, sorry, the I will become 1. After 0, it will become 1. So the next value will be INET address 2 for the Google. Similarly, this I will go to the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one by one, all the INET addresses of Google will print. As I already told you, I am taking this 10 as an example. It might not be the case and Google may have only one server. So it depends that how many INET addresses are written, they get stored into the array, and that many times the for loop repeats. If there is only one INET address for the google.com, then this for loop will return or repeat only once, and only one INET address for the Google will print. Now, let's move to the fourth factory method. Now, this is byte, a built-in data type. This is the array of byte type. As you know, the normal IP address has 4 bytes. So I have taken, for example, the byte 0 is 127, byte 1 0, byte 2 0, and byte 3 1. So there are total 4 bytes, 127 0 0 1, and this is stored in the byte array. Now, again, this is a ready-made class InetAddress. The object name is AD4. Class name is InetAddress and the method is get by address. Again, this is a static method, so it is called with the class name InetAddress. Now, we have provided IP address as a parameter here. And what is our IP address? The IP address is 127.0.0.1. This is a 4-byte IP address. Now, this method get by address will give me the INET address of the specified IP address. And here we will print that AD4. Let me tell you, in this fourth method, host name is not important, and only IP address may get print when we print here AD4. Here closing bracket of main and here closing bracket of the class. Now we will see the output of this program. For the same, let me run the program. As you know, for compiling, I am using Java C. The name of our program is InetAddressTest.java. You can see program is compiled. Now we will run it. And here goes the output. Now we will compare output with our program. As you can see, the first method is get localhost. So get localhost method return two things. First, IP address of my own laptop. Second, host name of my own laptop. It will be assigned to AD1 and AD1 will be printed. So let's check the output for the same. You can see host name of my laptop is laptop-9BAD859G. This is the host name of my local own laptop. And IP address of my laptop is 192.168.0.5. This host name as well as IP address combinedly known as INET address. Now let's move to the second line. Get by name, and we have specified the host name is www.msbt.com. In this case, again we will get two things. First is IP address of msbt.com and second is host name of msbt.com, which is msbt.com itself. It will be assigned to AD2 and AD2 will get print. Let's check the output for the same. You can see host name is www.msbt.com itself and IP address for this is 174.133.117.27. Now let's move to the third. This method is get all by name, and the name which we have provided is google.com. Now this method is supposed to return all the possible IP addresses of google.com. It may be 1, it may be 5, it may be 10. But in our case, only one IP address or one INET address is written, and that is stored at the index 0 in AD3. Now the index of I is 0. So this loop will return only one time, and AD0 means that INET address of the first server of the Google will get print. If we get 10 such INET addresses for Google, then this loop will repeat 10 times and 10 IP addresses will get print. So let me show you the output. www.google.com is the host name and 172.270.166.68 is the IP address for Google. Now let's move to the last method. This method is little bit different. The name of method is get by address. We have specified the IP address as a parameter, and the IP address is 127.0.0.1. So we will get INET address for this specified IP address. That INET address will be assigned to AD4 and that AD4 will get print. So I can show you the output. As I already told you, this method is little bit different and it is not concerned with any host name directly. So this is how the factory methods of InetAddress class work. Let's move to the syntax of these methods and some more detailed information for the same. Now, as we have already seen, the InetAddress class has no constructor. To create object, we need to use available 5 factory methods. Out of these 5, I have already practically shown you 4. Now, factory methods are static. As these methods are static, we need to call these all 5 methods using the class name, and class name is InetAddress. This method returns the object of this InetAddress class. So these methods are used indirectly to create the objects of InetAddress. First method is getLocalhost. It will give me the InetAddress of my own machine. Second method is getByName. This method will give me the INET address of the host name which I have specified. As you know, in the program, I specified the name www.msbt.com. Third method is get all by name. In this method, we will get all the possible INET addresses for the specified host name. Fourth is get by address. Here we need to specify the IP address and we will get INET address for that particular specified IP address. This get by address method has one more form which is given below. Here we can specify host name along with the IP address for the particular host. 2 points to remember, all these methods are static. So it should be called with the class name. And second point is all these method throws unknown host exception if you specify the wrong host name which is not available on the internet. The return type for all these methods is InetAddress class object. So this InetAddress class object has two things. One is IP address and second is host name. Now let's move to the instance method of the InetAddress class. As the name suggests, these instance methods are called using the object name instead of class name. So let's move to the program for these methods first. Now, as you can see, I am going to demonstrate here instance method of InetAddress class. Let me tell you, I am going to explain 6 different methods. Again, we need to import java.net package. The name of my class is InetAddressDemo. It is a user-defined name. You can take any name. Class starts here. This is a main function. Again, we are throwing unknown host exception in case by mistake if we provide any wrong host name which is not available on the internet, then this exception will be thrown. Now you can see I have created 3 objects, AD1, AD2, AD3. All these 3 objects are of InetAddress class. And the host name associated with the first address is msbt.com, for second also msbt.com, but for third it is a google.com. Now you can understand from here that AD1 and AD2 are same because they are pointing to the same host name, but AD3 is different because it is pointing to the Google and not to the MSBT. Now let's move for the first method. And the first method, first instance method is equals. Here AD1. AD1 is a first object which is pointing to msbt.com. AD2 is a second object and it is also pointing to the msbt.com. And you can see from the example that AD1 is equals to AD2 because both host names are same. So the answer will be true, because AD1 and AD2 are same. But if you see below, AD1 is different. It is msbt.com. And AD3, it is different. It is google.com. So the second answer will be false. So first answer is true, whereas second answer is false. So the return type for equals method is Boolean. When both the objects are same, it will be true. If objects are different, it will be false. Now you can see this method called with the object name. So that's why it is called instance method. In previous program, we called all the method using class name, and such a methods are called static methods. Now let's move for the next method. AD1 dot get host address. So let me tell you, here AD1 means msbt.com and get host address means we are going to get IP address for the msbt.com. and that IP address will be in the form of string. Next, AD1, again AD1 means this msbt.com dot get host name. Here we will get host name, and the host name is www.msbt.com. In short, I want to tell you that get host address will return IP address, right? And the second method, get host name, this method will return host name of AD1. I will show you that in output. Let's move to the next. Now next method is get address, ad1.getAddress. So it will print the address which is in the byte form. So it will print the address which is in the byte form. Right. Let's move next. Next method is ad1.isMulticastAddress. Now let me tell you what is a multicast address. For example, msbt.com is very small site and it is having only one server. So answer for is multicast address is false. But if you think about Facebook, www.facebook.com, it is a huge site. So they may have 10 to 15 servers which are using the same host name, which is www.facebook.com. So as under the single host name of Facebook, there are 10 to 15 means multiple servers under the same host name. In that case, is multicast address answer will be true. But as MSBT is having only one server, so the answer is false because AD1 is representing msbt.com. But if consider AD1 is representing a facebook.com and it is having a multiple servers under the same name, then the multicast address answer will be true. So the return type is Boolean. Let's move ahead. Now you know this AD1, AD2, AD3 all are the object of InetAddress class. But if I want to convert this object into the string, I am having a method that is toString. Now this method will convert this AD1 object into the string and will print the output. Here main complete, here class complete. Let's run the program. So the name of my class is InetAddressDemo.java. My program compiled successfully. Now let me run. Here goes the output. Let me compare it with the program. AD1 is msbt.com, AD2 is msbt.com, and both are equal. So that's why answer is true. Now AD1 is msbt.com, but AD3 is google.com. Both are not matching, both are not equal. Hence the answer is false. AD1.getHostAddress. So it will give me the IP address for AD1, and that IP address is 174.133.117.27. Next, AD1.getHostName. Here we will get host name for the AD1. Let's check, and it is www.msbt.com. Next is AD1.getAddress, and the answer is this. Now AD1.isMulticastAddress. So as I have already explained, the answer should be false as msbt.com is having only one server, and you can see answer is false. AD1.toString. This method will print the string version of the object, and you can see the output. String version contains both host name as well as IP address. So this is how we explain the complete program. Now let's see the methods theoretically. So these are the 6 instance method which we have seen in this program. All these 6 instance method are called using the object. First method is equals. If both objects are same, answer is true. Otherwise, answer is false. Second method is getAddress, which will return byte type of array. Third method is getHostAddress. Here we get IP address in the form of string. Next method is getHostName. This method will return host name, which is in the form of string. Next method is multicast address. If there is only one server under one name, answer is false. If there are multiple servers, likewise for Facebook there are multiple servers under the same name, the answer will be true. Last method is toString, which will convert object into the string. So thank you friends. I am Mr. Atul Bondre, Director of Mindspace Computer. I hope this lesson will be helpful for you. Thank you very much.